Welcome to the Multiverse, everybody. I'm your host, Jimmy, and today we are going to be checking out 10 things about Stormbreaker that you may not know. And just a little heads up, we're going to be discussing some spoilers from Infinity War in this video, so just keep that in mind going forward. Here is your spoiler alert. Let's get started.
Be sure to enter our monthly giveaway. For this month, we're going to be giving away 10 tickets to see the Han Solo movie. It's really easy to enter. All you have to do is like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn your notifications on for a chance to win. Leave a comment on why you want to win with your Twitter handle attached, and I will pick the winner at the end of the month. Good luck.
To kick things off, Stormbreaker first appeared in issue 339 of Thor, which came out in January all the way back in 1984. Now, Stormbreaker was created following a battle between Thor and Beta Ray Bill on Earth 616. After discovering that Beta Ray Bill was capable of lifting Mjolnir, Odin declares that the two fight to the death to decide who will take ownership of the hammer. That's a father for you right there. The two battled in a fiery realm of Scarthame and ended up beating each other unconscious at the same time. Bill was the first to regain his consciousness, making him the official winner of the fight. But instead of taking the hammer and letting Thor die, Bill saved Thor from the fire and decided that he was truly Mjolnir's owner. As a compromise to the rules of the fight, Odin ordered the dwarves of Nidavellir to create a new hammer for Bill to wield while Thor would continue to wield Mjolnir. And this new hammer would be called Stormbreaker. Now, while the Stormbreaker has been around for a long time, and it's definitely a powerful weapon, it has actually not appeared very much in the comics outside of the original Earth 616 version. As of the recording of this video, the Stormbreaker has only appeared on Earth 616, Earth TRN 562, and Earth 199999, aka the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In total, the Stormbreaker has appeared 141 times across its 34-year history and 3 universes. Now, that may sound like a lot, but it's nothing compared to Mjolnir, which has appeared over 3,000 times across more than 20 different universes. Now, if you've read the comics and you've seen Infinity War, you've probably noticed the original origin story of Stormbreaker is pretty different from the one that we got in the current Marvel Cinematic Universe. In Infinity War, Stormbreaker is crafted by Eitri, King of the Dwarves of Nidavellir, as a replacement for Mjolnir after its destruction in Thor Ragnarok. Like the original Earth 616 version, the MCU Stormbreaker is created using the heart of a star, but due to complications during the construction, Groot had to sacrifice his arm in order to finish crafting the handle. The MCU Stormbreaker also resembles an axe more than the Earth 616 Stormbreaker version, which looks more like a mallet. In fact, the MCU Stormbreaker seems to have more in common with Jarnborn, which was first introduced in issue 1 of Thor God of Thunder, published in January of 2013 as a weapon of choice for the young Thor before he got his hands on Mjolnir. As the MCU progresses, we are likely to see which of the two weapons the new Stormbreaker will resemble, or if it will carve out its own story. So one interesting aspect of Stormbreaker in the Earth 616 version is that it actually led to the end of Thor's secret identity, Donald Blake, or at least for a while. During Thor's origin story on Earth 616, Donald Blake was his mortal counterpart who he lived his life as until Odin felt he had deserved a right to come back as a god. Donald Blake was a medical student at Harvard University who had no memory of ever even being Thor, and he existed for 10 years until Odin decided to bring Thor back. However, even after he became Thor again and regained his memories of being a god prior to his life as a mortal, Thor continued to go back to Earth and live his life as Dr. Donald Blake, simply because he loved humanity and wanted to help it thrive. With the creation of Stormbreaker, though, Odin transferred Mjolnir's ability to transform Thor into Donald Blake into the new weapon, ending Thor's alter ego. It wasn't forever, though, as Thor was able to go back being Donald Blake after Ragnarok, and he continued to split his time between Earth and Asgard until the events of the Shattered Heroes resulted in Thor's death and Donald Blake becoming his own individual person on Earth, which separated from his life from Thor. It was pretty intense. Speaking of alter egos on Earth, the human counterpart fused with Stormbreaker isn't nearly as glamorous as Mjolnir. Like I said before, when Stormbreaker was created, the ability for the user to transform into a human was transferred to it from Mjolnir, this time in the form of a homeless war veteran named Simon Walters, who actually became a brief acquaintance of Spider-Man, and the two worked together to take down an evil mutant named Boar. Now, it's unknown if the MCU Stormbreaker will have anything to do with Simon Walters in the future, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. It would be a cool spin if they did. Alright, cracking into the top 5 today for all you Iron Man fans out there. This is going to be a fun little fact for you. Like I said earlier, Stormbreaker has appeared in 3 Marvel universes so far, those being Earth 616, Earth TRN 562, and Earth 199999. The formation of Stormbreaker was actually heavily assisted by none other than Tony Stark himself on Earth TRN 562, which is the universe in which the Marvel Avengers Academy game is set. However, this universe is likely not going to be corresponding with any other universe due to it still not gaining an official designation by Marvel themselves, hence it containing TRN in the title. TRN stands for Temporary Reality Number. So will it ever stand on its own? We don't know, but it's pretty cool to see that with Iron Man and Tony Stark linked to it. So, who can wield Stormbreaker? Can you wield Stormbreaker? I probably can't wield Stormbreaker, as I'm sure most of you know. Mjolnir can only be wielded by those who are deemed worthy enough to do so. However, there is no concrete rule as to who can wield Stormbreaker, at least not on Earth 616. Many believe that because Stormbreaker was created to be equal to Mjolnir, it also carries the same rules of worthiness in order to be wielded, but there isn't actually any evidence of this existing. Stormbreaker has actually been wielded by someone other than Beta Ray Bill and Thor, and that was Eric Masterson, also known as Thor 2, during the Thor Corps storyline of Earth 616 in the early 90s. During a fight with Loki, Masterson is able to quickly lift Stormbreaker and use it in combat, so the weapon is not bound to only one user, but this doesn't really say much about the worthiness rule, because chances are Eric Masterson would have been worthy of its power if there was a rule in place. So as of the recording of this video with you guys, there isn't really any concrete answer as to whether or not Stormbreaker carries the same worthiness rules as Mjolnir, although it does certainly seem that way. Speaking of Mjolnir, Stormbreaker's definitely has some similarities to Thor's weapon. Most of the Stormbreaker powers are the same as the hammer, such as the energy sensing, the flight, the energy projectiles, energy absorption and redirection, and the ability for Beta Ray Bill to summon it to his hand, regardless of where the weapon is. However, there are a few abilities Stormbreaker is not confirmed to have that Mjolnir does, such as the weather and the time manipulation. Well, despite these abilities not being confirmed to be part of it, it is still implied that it is capable of doing so, given the fact that it was created to be Mjolnir's equal. This is likely just a case of Stormbreaker not appearing as much as Mjolnir is, so we haven't seen it yet do these things, despite it's probably capable of everything that Mjolnir can do, plus summoning the Bifrost. Now, one key aspect of Stormbreaker that should be remembered going forward with the MCU is the fact that it was once torn into 2 halves. After Beta Ray Bill was captured by the Skrulls, a powerful race of humanoid warriors, which most of you probably know, they managed to separate Stormbreaker into 2 axes, which they then tried to use to kill the gods of Asgard, and this event is also one of the main reasons why it's unclear if Stormbreaker has a definitive worthiness rule. Thankfully, Thor was able to intercept Stormbreaker and return it to Beta Ray Bill, but you should definitely keep this in mind going forward in the MCU, because you never know. Maybe Stormbreaker will become 2 separate axes for someone to use in combat, like the Skrulls did when we get to Avengers 4. And finally today, which one is more powerful, Mjolnir or Stormbreaker? Which name is cooler? You guys let me know in the comments section. There's not really a clear-cut answer to this, mainly due to the fact that Mjolnir has had so much more representation throughout Marvel's history. It is hard to compare 2 weapons when one has been used way more, but if we were to compare just the Earth 616 versions of Mjolnir and Stormbreaker, it's a pretty rough comparison, mainly due to the fact that Stormbreaker was specifically created by Odin to be Mjolnir's equal, and it was even crafted using the same dwarf star. You could consider Stormbreaker to be more powerful of the 2 if you factor in the fact that Odin transferred the transformation enchantment from Mjolnir to it during its creation, but when it all comes down to it, the 2 weapons are on equal footing. Given that we've seen the MCU version of the Stormbreaker, it's starting to seem that that version definitely has a leg up on Mjolnir, although our time with it was very limited as of the recording of this video. So, for all we know, it may not be that way at all, or perhaps the new Stormbreaker has some fatal flaw that we aren't aware of. I guess only time is going to tell which weapon is really the strongest. And there you have it, my friends of the multiverse. Those are 10 facts about Stormbreaker. Now, you can take the comic version or you can take the MCU movie adaptation. You guys let me know which one you like more. Do you like Stormbreaker? Do you like Mjolnir more? Give me your thoughts in the comment section. Definitely give us ideas for future videos as we grow this channel. Thank you to everybody that has already subscribed and supporting the videos. If you're fans of Marvel, DC, Star Wars, anything geek, pop culture, this is definitely going to be a place for you guys. Make sure you turn on your notifications so you never miss an upload. My name is Jimmy, and I will see you guys in the multiverse.